Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Car Expert with your host, Sheldon Anthony. And I do apologize, the past few weeks I've kind of been gone. I'm at a car conference over in New York. They wanted me to come in as an expert speaker just to show people how it's done. And so it's kind of cool. There's a lot of new technicians out there that have the knowledge and skill that I have. Anyway, so I'm going to cut to the chase. What we're going to talk about today is brakes. Now, as we all know, as we learned in history class, cars were invented back in 1915, and there were certain kinks they needed to work out. One of the main things was, how the heck do you get the thing to stop? So they tried a few things where, like, a little horse and buggy method, which was putting leather straps here. So they'd have leather straps surrounding the rotor, and, you know, as you go in, there would be a nice little pulley where the radio now is. I mean, it kind of sucked they didn't get radio, their loss. You pull it, then the car would stop. However, now this is the bummer. However, it didn't work. Apparently the straps broke constantly, people died, and yeah, it was just a problem because cars are really sweet and nice, but you gotta get them to stop at some point. Anyway, so 10 years went by, and back in 1925, Henry Ford hired a man by the name of Kevin Breaker. Now, Mr. Breaker had some ideas. He was actually a technician like myself. That's pretty cool. And he decided a new way of making brakes. And he used steel pads and using some, he used something. Anyway, he used something to be able to press like that. And the pads, the two fingers are my pads. Okay, the pads. And then, little space in between my fingers is, let's say that's the rotor. And so as you drive, it would stop the rotors from spinning any further, so that way you could come to a stop and, you know, you wouldn't have to die, which is pretty nice, especially if you have a family and all that. And yeah, obviously brakes, they're named after Kevin Breaker, so good on him. Now, let's see. There are different types of brakes. So as we talked about, the steel brakes were first invented. But there are also kind of a cool ingenious sort of brake. They're called drums. Now, this happens to have drums as well, and it's pretty cool. So the difference between the metal brakes and the drum brakes is metal brake kind of make a squealing sound. But this one, hence the name, anyway, so it was drums. It had a drum sound. So you wouldn't be able to hear it as much as you're driving along, but on the outside, very faintly, you would hear drum sounds. Okay. Now the drum sounds, if they start to go off a little bit, like they're off the beat, like, you know, they're just all over the place, right? So once that happens, that means you gotta start, you know, getting in there, taking it apart, and yeah, you know, that's a tough process. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, it's kind of up to debate on what the heck is going on inside those drums, but whatever it is, it does stop the car. So just gonna try to do some research on that. Now, when you need brakes is once you get to the point where, hey, I'm not stopping, this kind of sucks, that means get new brakes. So that one's pretty easy to spot. Your car can shake while braking. If you're just slamming on the brakes a lot, it's just something that happens. One more thing we gotta check is the brake fluid. So I'm just gonna pop that out. This is the best part, really. You get to pop open the hood and see all the glorious things inside this treasure of a car. Yes, there we go. Hey, it has hydraulics too, that's pretty awesome. Anyway, So the brake fluid is... Oh, dang, I know it's around here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Yeah, even experts get confused. So, you can pop that off. Now, you notice it's yellow? Well, the fluid's supposed to be yellow too. A little consistency. You just... And yeah, it's still wet, so you're good. As long as it's wet and it's not like all crusty, you're golden. So, alright, we're gonna close this up. And yeah, so just in summary, hopefully you've been listening. I know it's easy to get distracted by the beauty of this vehicle, but just as a summary, brakes were invented by Kevin Breaker. There are metal brakes and then drum brakes. If the drum brake gets off beat, replace the drums. If you start to not, stop at stoplights, that means get new brakes. And yeah, if the fluid's good, if it's wet, no need to fix it. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this informational video. I'm going to be coming out next week with another great video, and this one's going to be on tires. And wow, you're in for a show. Yeah, I guess. Anyway, well, it's been a great time visiting with you guys, and I hope you'll stay tuned for more. And this is Sheldon Anthony signing out. Bye-bye.